quality educational games are few and far in between, but the ones that make it to the top really withstand the test of time and become legendary. Everyone remembers the first time they blasted some math, or munched some numbers, or drowned in 3 feet of water while suffering from dysentery. That exact scenario was far more common than you might think. Seriously, is it that hard to stand up? But one game has always stuck with me, and it stuck with me because of the pure creativity, the whimsicality, the happiness of it all. It was a game that was simple to learn but difficult to master, which made it all the more memorable. A game that I will always cherish in my heart because of how unique and pleasant it was. And it was one of the few games that could actually run on my parents' old iMac. It was either that or Nanosaur, and Jetpack Raptors really don't have that much educational value. But anyway, I present to you the logical journey of the Zoombinis. Zoombinis was an educational game focused not specifically on math or history, but on critical thinking and puzzle solving through logic. It offered a more thoughtful, laid-back game, each puzzle having a limit of tries rather than timing, giving you the chance to think through everything before you inevitably screwed it up. Or maybe that was just me. I thought I'd revisit this game and show it off to people who might not be as familiar with it, and also because I wanted to see how well the game has held up over the years. While I don't have access to the gorgeous pixel art version, there was a re-release on Steam a few years ago with new art assets, so I'll be using that. Other than the art, the game is identical to the original. We start by learning a little about our friends. The Zoombinis lived a wholesome, idyllic lifestyle of making knickknacks to be sold all over the world. Apparently it's easier than you think for creatures with no arms or hands to make things. Everything is wonderful until the bloats showed up. The bloats offer not only to expand their business, but improve their life. Apparently by teaching them how to dance, which the Zoombinis, being morons, immediately agree to. Within minutes, the Zoombinis are slaves, and so they agree to escape Zoombini Island and found a new colony across the world. And that's where you come in. Yes, you, intrepid guide. The Zoombinis are counting on you and you alone to guide them to their new world. Do you have what it takes to free them from slavery and see them safely to their new home? Can you be Zoombini Harriet Tubman? You start the game by crafting a team of 16 Zoombinis. Each one has their own eyes, hair, nose color, and foot type. And with 5 of each, that's a total of 625 Zoombinis to save. So we're going to be making a couple trips. You're also going to want to keep your Zoombinis having some similarities to each other. Just trust me on this. And off these tiny little entrepreneurial stress balls go on their journey of fungication. God, I hate that word. The game is split into 4 sections, each of which has 3 levels, but one of the paths splits, so you will only have to do 3 each time you play. The first section of the game is known as the Big, the Bad, and the Hungry. I feel like there's an obvious political joke I can make there, but I'm not going to touch that one. We start with the allergic cliffs. The puzzle here is simple. You need to find out what one attribute each cliff is allergic to, and send Zoombinis with that attribute over the other cliff. But let's talk about the first thing we notice, the graphics. This is one of the most pleasant, colorful games I can remember playing. This is the remake, but even the old graphics were fantastic. It's just one of those things that made it stand out so much from the rest of the pack, during a time when so many computer games were just... But enough about how nice the game looks, we gotta save these little Furbies. Next up, we go to the Stone Cold Caves. It's a similar concept. Certain rocks will reject certain features. You just need to figure out where the Zoombinis go. And in going back to the game, I realized something. Every character has so much life and so much excitement in their voice as they guide you through.
Enjoy yourself.
They're back!
The floodgates are opened, it seems.
You ever just wanna have sex with a voice? I'm asking for a friend. And for me. And nowhere is that personality shown greater than in the next level, which is arguably the most famous in the game. Ladies and gentlemen, hold on to your butts because I present to you, Arno the Pizza Troll.
Make me a pizza!
You see, Arno wants pizza, and he happens to have a machine that makes pizza, which somehow he's never figured out how to use, despite the fact that all you do is hit a button for toppings and another for pizza. Oh my god, Arno, is it really that hard? You just have to determine which toppings he likes and which he doesn't, then make him the perfect pizza. It's like that old game Mastermind, with only slightly more sauce. But be careful, if you give him the wrong pizza too many times... Oh god, Arno, what have you done? It was just pizza! For God's sake, this is not the way! Once you get Arno his pizza and try to ignore his terrible table manners, the Zoombinis head off to a safe campsite. This acts as a checkpoint, letting you save as many Zoombinis here as you want, and if any get lost on the next leg of the journey, they wind up back here. Well, why don't you just live here, actually? It's got soup and plenty of, naked rock demons. Anyway, now you get a choice. You can either take the up path to Who's Bayou, or the down path to the deep dark forest. And let me tell you, only losers go to Who's Bayou. It's not awful, but comparatively it's not nearly as exciting. The best part is this riverboat captain's voice.
Now hurry yourselves up and find your seat.
You just need to make sure everyone is standing next to someone that shares one trait. Then there's the hex lifter, which is the same principle, but everyone has to be paired off. And then there are these lily pads where the frogs follow one path based on their shape, or color, or some other shape, and then they jump really slowly and every single Zoombini has to take a frog and come on, I got places to be! Look, the point is the down path is way more interesting, so let's go that way. And it's there that we run into the most horrifying thing in the game. Maybe in all video games. Something that will rock you to your very core, and make you question whether the wonder of the universe is really that wondrous, or if madness and chaos are truly what controls everything. Shield your eyes, everyone, for it is the Fleens. Gross and weird! Look how horrible and mean these things are. Sunglasses, rocket boots, bandanas, they've clearly lived their lives on the other side of the tracks, and they're not here to take crap from nobody. You know, statistics say that 5 out of every 4 drive-by stabbings are committed by Fleens. God, they're so weird. Not like our happy, upstanding Zoombinis. The goal here is to figure out which features match up between Zoombinis and Fleens, and use that knowledge to shake the tree branch enough to send the bees after them. Let that be a lesson to you, children. Don't be a Fleen. After that, we head to a nice hotel where...
Guests? Ah, guests. I'll be right down. Make yourselves cozy.
Oh my god, who are these voice actors? They're wonderful. Seriously, at a time when voice acting was often subpar, Zoombinis characters are so full of life because of these voices. Even the Zoombinis themselves make fun, endearing noises during downtime, and celebration chirps at a puzzle well solved. It creates this overall wonderful air of joy throughout the whole game. Anyway, this is Ulla Instantaneous, and she lets the Zoombinis stay at a hotel. The puzzle here is to figure out which characteristic goes in which room, thus teaching kids about the value of segregation based on looks. Wait, no, absolutely not that. It teaches kids about the value of critical thinking and logic. Yeah, that's better. From there, we move on to one of my favorite puzzles, Mud Ball Wall. Here you have to determine which row is which shape, and which column is which color, then hit the marked targets. And I know I'm going back to the sound again, but man, the sound design in this game is great too. Anyway, when you hit the targets, they send Zoombinis flying. Another success for the Zoombini space program, and you head off to another checkpoint. But be careful, because...
The darkest, most dangerous part of the journey is yet to come!
Well, that was ominous. Off to the final leg of the journey, the deep, dark cliffs. We start with the Lion's Lair, where you, just put them in order shown on the wall over there. Then we go to the Mirror Machine, where you just pick a Zoombini that matches a tile. This is the final stretch, right? Okay, here we go. This is a good one. The last actual level is the Bubble Wonder Abyss. Here, you send the Zoombinis across the pit, determining who to send based on the grid. Some arrows change direction, some arrows will send Zoombinis with certain traits in the other direction. You just need to figure out the pattern and get them safely across. But, don't do what I did as a kid and try to send a bunch at once, because otherwise...
All the humanity, all the...
And with that, the Zoombinis find their new home in a Windows XP desktop. Finally free of the shackles of slavery, they can get back to doing what they do best, standing around, sometimes jumping, and making noises. Each time you clear a section of the game without losing a Zoombini, you get a new building for them to very conspicuously not go inside, gradually building up Zoombiniville into a wonderful metropolis. Got all that? Good. Now just do it 39 more times and you win! Seriously, if you want to get total completion, you'll have to get all 625 Zoombinis from the start to the finish. But don't worry if you think that's going to get tedious. I mean, okay, yes, it is going to get tedious, but it won't be easy, because now is when the difficulty starts ramping up. There are 4 difficulty modes: not so easy, oh so hard, very hard, and very, very hard. And the more you complete a leg of the journey, the harder the difficulty becomes. Each level has different parameters for the difficulty going up. The allergic cliffs will start being allergic to more than one attribute. Mudball Wall gets gigantic, and the patterns move diagonally rather than horizontally and vertically. The mirror machine starts changing attributes and taking 2 Zoombinis at once. Those stupid lily pads get invaded by this loser who I hate. The fleeins stop playing by the direct attribute rule, so feet could match up with eyes. And there end up being 3 pizza trolls and ice cream options. And yes, their voice acting is still wonderful.
Something's wrong.
So you're gonna have a lot to do. A lot to do. In fact, come to think of it, I don't think I ever 100% completed the game. I doubt I ever even made it 50%. I'd always just get kinda burnt out. So, coming back to this game, there are a lot of problems. There's an awful lot of grind, and there's one part of the game that's just really boring. So what is it about this game that made it so beloved to me? Well, in revisiting it and making this video, I remembered. It's the charm. I do really enjoy the gameplay, even with its faults. It's critical thinking at its best. But man, there is no other game out there that drips charm and personality like this one. The amazing voice acting, the gorgeous levels and backgrounds, the little details everywhere you look, it all sucks you in and keeps you invested the whole way. You know, the original title of the game isn't just a title. This really truly is a journey. You're not just guiding these little puffballs on their quest, you're on the quest right with them. You see everything unfold from their tiny little cave into this grand, imaginative adventure full of wonder. Sure, the puzzles themselves are the draw, and I do have fond memories of getting really excited when I solve one. Heck, I still get excited to solve some of the harder ones. But it's the way the game is presented that really made it stand out. It's a world straight out of Dr. Seuss, with over-the-top personality and the sense of magic around every corner. And it's what turns Zoombinis from just another educational game into one of the most memorable games from that era for me. Am I romanticizing this game too much? Well, maybe a little. But I really, truly do love this game, and coming back to play it, I remembered exactly why. It will always have a place in my heart as one of my most beloved games ever. And hey, if you want to play it for yourself, it's only $10 on Steam. Maybe the gameplay isn't exactly world-changing, but it's the kind of game where you're going to be able to look past that, because everything else is just wonderful. What? These things are adorable. Thank you all so much for watching. Please subscribe so you can see more episodes of TheBrianJ Presents, as well as my 2 weekly shows, Dollar Store Gaming and Game Boy Roulette. And a special thanks to Lingyan203 for use of some clips in this video. I'm Brian J, and I will see you next time.